What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Dent Digest live show. What's up, Manny?
Yo, what's up, everyone? What's up, Ryan? I like that song. I like that intro.
She's like, you need to play the red button, Daddy. You got to play the red button. And I was like, okay.
Hey,
What's
I'll tell
up?
you, kids know about music, man. Back in the days, in my DJing days, I would ask kids, just for playlists because I knew they always had good hits. So,
Good hits, huh?
how are you, Ryan? Sorry, I'm
Good.
over here trying to adjust my lighting.
I know you guys missed Manny putting his makeup on. And
Yeah, I didn't put makeup on today, so. Well, I did actually. All that dust that drops from the truck. Have you ever Well, you have guys who are, and I thanks for you, but
I've taken cars apart before, but yeah, trucks, yes.
back in the days, I had a Super Duty. I was, taking off some screws, and on the Dodge, that liner on the back. Oh, I hate that liner. That thing's so hard.
Yep.
So trying to get this thing off, and man, all this dirt just falling on me all over. Oh, that was fun. That was fun, I'll tell you.
Liner stinks. The truck liners suck. They all suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
those Dodge trucks. Especially the dualies, heavy duty ones, one in the rear.
So what was that tape you were using today?
So the other day, so I pick up pieces of wraps, whenever you do a matte color card, put a piece of wrap and you can work on it, But the other day I was working on something and I didn't have a good wrap to put on top of this dent. So I ran over to O'Reilly's. And they sell pieces of, I guess, decals, you could call them. But they sell this kit that it's when your tail light gets cracked, you could get a piece. Yeah. It's not like tape, but it's, it's almost
like a film.
Yeah, it's like a film, but colored. And you just put it on your tail light or your headlight. So they have a clear one and they have a red one. There's just something with it that is different from your regular PPF that I really like. I bought it the other day and I've been using it on matte color cars like that. And I really like that stuff. You know what I like about it? It's not like your regular wrap film that when you tap on it, it starts
making texture to it.
And before you know it, you don't really know what the exact shape of the dent is because you've already played around with the cushion on from the film. Well, this doesn't have that.
It's harder.
It's harder. It's almost like if it was window tinting film.
You're gonna have to post a picture of the package.
Yeah, I will. Because I threw away the package. I just kept the pieces. But what I like about it, aside from being hard material and it would hold the texture, more because it's looks like it's stronger. But it's the reflection that you also get with that.
Makes sense.
I don't know, it's just a different reflection that you get, and I could almost see it. Why would it has that different reflection? Because it's for the tail lights or headlights,
But it worked. A piece of window tint would work. I wonder.
I've tried it in the past, and no, not really, because it's more sensitive to the dirt. I feel like, except anything.
Yeah.
But that stuff worked really good, man. So, AutoZone or O'Reilly's, it's the tail light, kit that they have is a little square decal. It comes 2 pieces and it's cheap. It's $1.50.
Okay.
So it wasn't too bad, so that worked well.
I use PPF all the time, but I do have that problem of damaging the PPF enough to where you have to replace it and work and then knock and replace it.
So Alejandro's asking me if I used packing tape. I have, but I don't like using packing tape.
Why?
I don't know. I just I don't know.
I'll use packing tape on like a freshly painted car that I need to glue on.
Oh, really?
Because it doesn't give the adhesion to the paint. It's giving it to the packing tape. And what it'll do is it'll pull the packing tape instead of pulling the paint.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So,
yeah, I don't know why. I prefer to use regular wrap than packing tape for some reason.
Yeah.
And even Josh Struggles was telling me today, like, Manny, just use a piece of like wrap. Why are you buying that stuff? And I was like, I like it.
If it works, it works. Was that McLaren matte PPF or was it painted matte?
No, it was a wrap.
Yeah.
It was just a wrap that they put. A pretty nice wrap. The original color of that McLaren, it's nasty.
Really?
It's like a Turkish, like more on the green side. I don't know. It's a weird color. It's awful. It's the only McLaren that I've seen with that color. But how you been? How's your week?
Been good, man. We were really, really busy again. I don't even know, dude. It's been big smashes and weird stuff we've been doing. We had Josh start, and he's been working out really good. He's a really clean pushing tech. So it's been good because we've both been kind of feeding off each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, he does things a little differently than I do. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about doing it that way. Or he'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now. I understand why you did it that way. So it's been fun. It's been, for me, it's kind of like some new stuff for me to try.
Yeah.
And then him, it's like all learning. He's like,
yeah.
How to deal with some of the customers or how we do things. Like today we were mobile and got to introduce him to a bunch of my shops and, so it's been good. It's been really good. All the guys are busy. Looking for some more help. If anybody's looking for a job, we're hiring for every goddamn thing we can hire for right now. So if anybody wants to change, you're more than welcome to come.
We got to get him on the show one of these days.
Because Josh?
Yeah. So, everyone doesn't know this, but Josh is from Colorado, right? And basically he was a tech down there, and he wanted to come on board with you in Maryland, and basically started that journey.
He's here. It's been cool. It's been a couple months in the works, and we kind of agreed to a deal right before MTE. So it's been cool. MTE was good because we all got to know him a little bit. So when he came in for his first day, he wasn't like, hey, I'm Josh.
Yeah.
I fix dents.
And that's important too. Like if you're a tech that is thinking about moving, you got to go out there and spend a few days and
I would say a week. I think a week would be the best. Granted, it's a lot of money. I get it. You're staying in a hotel, but you get to know all the dynamic, because you could have 2 days and they could run completely smooth. Or you could run a week and you have 2 perfect days and the shit hit the fan for 3 days. You know what I mean? It's today was the shit fan. That's what we had. We had the shit fan. But it's okay. You know what I mean? It's you have your good and your bad.
That's right.
But things are good, dude. Things are.
Shout outs to Kyle, Ron, Q in the house, Alejandro, Jeff, Mr. Prank.
We're busy, and spring's getting ready to hit. We're getting ready to have our 1-year anniversary here, April 15th. So
that's right. It's
been a lot of work for that. We got a lot of companies involved and some different stuff, food trucks, and it should be fun. We'll see if anybody shows up.
Yeah, a few clients for estimates.
That happens. Last year when we had it, we had customers come on up and, hey, can you take a look at my car? And I'm like, do you see him running around like a chicken with my head cut off? You know what I mean? So
that's, it's funny because on Sundays when I just come to the shop and do random stuff, if I keep my door open, clients pull up. It's just like, oh yeah, like a regular business is. Like,
yep.
What's wrong? It's Sunday.
I've been telling my wife, I was like, I need to get another truck. And she's like, why? And I was like, Ash, if I go to the gas station It's a 45-minute escapade. Like, you just pumping your, hey, can you take a look at this? Hey, can you take a look at that? And you're like, you go to the Home Depot. Hey, can you take a look at this? Can you take a look at that? And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to live. It's Sunday. I don't feel like talking about dents. We talk about dents 6 days a week.
That's the reason why I took out the wrap on my van,
Oh
because it's just
gosh,
like it's
so
you know, you go anywhere and people are like flagging you down. You know,
it's a good thing. It is a great thing. You know that
it is.
But
So if you're a mobile company and you don't have decals on your car or truck, you're missing out. That is free marketing right there. That
yes,
is
but
huge.
make sure you have the right insurance.
Yeah.
Each state is different. So
Yeah. In California, it's that if you have decals on, you have to have like, business insurance.
yeah, I'm commercial, which is way more expensive. It's almost double. So like a standard Silverado compared to the business is almost double, but
it's worth it though, man. I mean, insurance it's like PPF, right? You don't know how valuable it is to something else.
yes. You know,
Hey, look at what I was using on that truck today. I was so busy I couldn't record and show you guys, but by the way, we're not bringing back B&D on here because we have a contract with him. No, I'm just using the tip. Like
I'm telling you, man.
I'm putting it out there.
And he posted it yesterday or the other day, like the show from last week, and it's cool. But I'm telling you guys, like,
dude,
it's a freaking fantastic tool. Like, it's really good. That tip and the ratcheting head.
I didn't put the ratcheting head on this one because where I was at, it just worked perfect. But I used it on like my heavy duty Ultra, and man, I just flew through that dent on that Dodge truck. Oh, it was so nice.
Push is nice. I mean, excuse me, I'm tired. I'm sorry.
What?
It's been a late couple nights. I said it pushes really nice.
It does.
But it's just a nice all around kit. I had a guy come in and I was working on this Rolls Royce, pulling my hair out, and the customer's talking to me and he's like, "What is that? Is that your surgical tools?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's surgical tools," because it was like in the B&D case.
Oh yeah.
And I have every new tip that I have in there, so it's like the Dent Reapers, the B&Ds, the Matt Boyette Dent Slayer tips, some others, the Excalibur tips, all in that little padded case.
Oh yeah. It's a nice case.
It works out really well. So it's been really good. And you know what I really got this week, and I've come to realize one of your best compliments. What's one of the best compliments you've gotten over the years in your business?
Oh man. I've gotten a few for sure, but I think that for me the biggest thing is the backstory.
Yeah.
Where one day it comes to my head right away. It's over the holidays, older lady, her son came over to visit her. And she lives by herself, and she was happy about her son's visit, right? But the last day, he's pulling something out of the garage that he wants to take with him. It falls and bam, whacks her car. And elderly people like really love and value their cars because it's the last piece of freedom that they have to go anywhere they want, So anyways, the son, last day before he goes, something falls out of the garage and hits her car. Oh, she was upset. And so the whole part of having family over, having her son over for the holidays just kind of just went out the door.
Yeah.
Because he hit her car. The fact that I was able to like fix it, it took that situation just out the window, and it just brought back the good family time that she's spent, and the whole dent thing now just became a story for the holidays, so to me, like little things like that mean a lot, or I'll tell you the last one. Elderly Asian gentleman his wife has cancer. They have a Tesla. He takes her to the hospital every day for her checkups and stuff like that. You better stop that, man.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible, man. Oh my
Kyle,
gosh.
tell him.
What's going on? I'm getting beat up over here.
Anyway, so he can't be away from his car for so long because he needs to take her to the hospital. And I was able to just make the whole thing work. I gave him a good price. I dropped him off at home, picked him up. I got it done in one day. And that situation just made him feel like a lot better.
Yeah,
because he
it
loves
was
his
stress
car
off his shoulders.
So just like stories like that, just I value a lot. So I don't know if it's a lot on like the comments or the compliments. It's more of like the backstory, I think.
Yeah.
So what happened to you that?
Just when what really made me ask that question was, I love this story. I always ask, how did it happen? What hit it?
Right.
You know what I mean? I always like that end. But I had a customer he was in a couple weeks ago. I did his Porsche Macan, and he left me a motorcycle tank, and he was kind of a high maintenance customer. He was very, when will you have this done? How fast is it going to take? Is it going to be perfect? Just very. And I said, it'll be done when we're done. It's going to be this much, but we're going to be done when we're done. Motorcycle tanks, you don't get a date. You drop them off, you get them back when you get them back. I don't want the pressure. They're not easy to work on. I like to just go in the evening or the weekend and work, because nobody's bugging you. It's just more difficult. So he called me on Friday last week, and I was like, yeah, it's halfway there. I'm thinking it'll be done sometime next week. So I call him on Monday morning and said, hey, your tank's on. He's like, really? He's like, oh, well, okay. Well, I'll pick it up next Friday. And I was like, this dude, you calling me to check on it. So anyway, he showed up to pick it up early, and he just came back in, and he's like, I just want to tell you, your whole operation. He was a foreign guy, little language barrier, but I could understand him. And he said just every point, because every car that I do, I put a little bag of mints in the center console. So every customer car that comes out, it's a little thank you tag with a business card. And he's like, every part of it. When I got in my car after I spent $700 with you the first time, he's like, that was a nice touch. Just everything all together. And he comes to me, he goes, I have to ask you something. I'm like, what's that? And he goes, is this a franchise? And I was like, it could be, but no, it's not. You know what I mean? But it's just nice for me. And I've heard that before, but I've never really retained it. It's just nice for me for someone to sit back and say, this guy's at least has an idea of what he's doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's taken a long time, but I still don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I guess everything looks like it's together, so it's pretty cool. You get pretty cool little nitbits when you're doing this business that you can enjoy, customer stories or relieving stress because their wife's getting ready to have a baby and they don't want to have the dent in the car. And so stuff like that's pretty cool.
Yep. I hear you.
Well, let's get our guest on. And
yeah, man.
I'll explain.
John's probably back there like, John's probably back there like, shut up. Bring me on.
He's like, Ryan's going to fall asleep before I even talk. So, well, let's get him on. What's up, John? Wake up, buddy.
Oh. Hey, what's up, guys? Dang. Whew.
What's up, John?
Doing? Pretty good. How are you guys?
We're good. Tell us about that sign in the back.
Oh, yeah. So that's that's my wife. She's a huge fan of the show Schitt's Creek. And for her 40th birthday party, I had a huge bash for her, and I had that banner made, and it's like the sign that when you pull into the town at Schitt's Creek.
Wow.
So had that sign made, and we obviously kept that, so it's pretty funny.
That's cool.
So I'll give you a little backstory, guys. I met John Yeager at good old Hail Expo 2018, maybe?
Sounds right, yeah.
And
2018 or 2019.
A friend of ours, Dwayne, I already had a relationship with, and he's got to meet my guy John. He's the one that trained me. And we'll get into that whole story later, but where are you from? What's the name of your company? And let's get on with it.
Yeah, I'm right near Nashville, Tennessee,
Nice.
a little town called Pleasant View, and my business name is Dude's Dent Removal, which honestly doesn't really mean anything because I
How'd
do
you come
hail,
up with
so.
how'd you come up with that name? I just gotta ask. Sorry.
um, It's actually my nickname through my family is Dude. It just my older brother Mark, he started calling me Dude when I was real young, and it just kind of stuck. I mean, when I actually went out on my own, started doing PDR, for myself, and um, I was just kind of like, what am I gonna call my my company? What am I gonna do here? And it's just like just popped in my head, Dude's Dent Removal, of course. Why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah, that's cool. That's unique.
That's awesome. So, what year did you start doing PDR? Who trained you?
I started in 03, and I went to training at PDQ.
Okay.
Yeah, went for Andy. Where's my cape? I went for a week-long training at PDQ, and I came out of there just obviously like terrible. So I don't know if I can say I've been doing it since 03 because I was so bad for a long time back then, but yeah, that's where I got my start. I actually worked in a body shop, and I was a combination guy, so I did body and paint. Back in that day, I was doing like the worst jobs, like door handles and people breaking their door handles, ripping them off in the cold and stuff like that, and replacing those and painting them. And then I got up to where I was doing like core supports and things like that, but I never got anything too crazy. But I was also doing PDR kind of at the same time, so it was hard to get good at PDR and then also still be like a good tech, a good collision tech.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like it's hard for like bodymans to, add PDR to like their dailies because it's they have so much to do as a body tech and like
Right.
so much concentration that PDR needs. Like,
Yep.
It's hard to combine them. I think
For sure, and it's hard at that point. It's hard to like be good at either one of them because your time is so split.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to work my way up to be like a commission auto body technician, and I'm trying to get my time every week, and like prove myself, and then I'm like trying to do dents too. So it just wasn't a really very good combination.
So where did you go from there? You're in the body shop. You learned PDR.
Yeah, and then I actually got pretty decent. Still not great, but I ended up hooking up with this company doing training. And they knew that I wasn't like an A level technician at that point. So I actually started working for this training company doing some training for General Motors, and I was just like an assistant at that point, just helping out. And at that point, I actually got hooked up with my friend Charlie Cottom. I don't know if any of you guys know him, but he's kind of my mentor. I mean, he took me under his wing, and I just soaked up everything that he had to say.
That's cool.
So I owe him everything pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah, good dude.
Did you quit the body shop and you were doing the training thing? Or?
I did. I was doing both for a little while. I was just doing they would have some like weekend classes they would do for General Motors. So I would help with that a little bit, and then it just kind of took over where I just ended up going full time with them.
And how was that? How was
it was
that
great
whole process? Were you still learning during that?
No, I was better than just learning. I was pretty decent at that point. Like I said, I wasn't phenomenal by any means, but like I said, I was kind of an assistant at that point. So I was helping out the guys who had been doing it for 20 years and helping, assist with the class.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So, and as I was assisting, I was also learning more and getting much better. And then, as you guys probably know, when you actually start to teach something, things start to click.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you start to realize, like, as you're talking to people about things, you're like, oh, damn, I didn't even realize I knew that.
Like it makes more sense to you than what
Yeah,
the
yeah,
students, you know.
yeah.
That's funny.
And they're
So
like, I always got like really good compliments as a trainer. They were just like, oh, you're so good. You just explain it so well. And I'm like, oh, thanks. It was like literally fake it till you make it for sure.
So did you just stay the assistant that whole time, or?
No, for a while I was the assistant, and then I just, obviously I understood what I was doing, and then became the lead. And actually, I'm kind of responsible for training like a whole generation of General Motors employees. It's kind of
Wow.
weird.
That's cool.
And you were training, just to clarify, you were training for PDR, like
Yeah.
the General Motors, or
Yep.
oh wow,
Yep. For General Motors, the people that actually are in the plant doing the job, doing the PDR or metal finishing.
I always wonder how much PDR work is in in a factory like that.
Quite a bit, especially if you have a
Really?
startup. If you're running a new product, like a brand new vehicle, they have brand new presses they're running and brand new machines, and they have a lot of damage starting off.
That was going
And
to be
it's
my next question. Like, what are typical dents that you have to fix at the factory?
typical is just small stuff. I mean, it's like for the most part, you're looking at like little high spots. A lot of time they call them die marks, where you actually get like maybe a little too much oil in the press, and when it stamps the part out, you'll have like a little high spot, and it's like you'll have little high spots like that, or it could be actually the opposite. Obviously, you could have a low as well,
Wow.
depending on how it comes out. But then, I mean, there's also user error all the time, where they've got these giant fixtures that they're picking parts up and bringing them around, and they could have a misstep and crash into the fender, and you have a dent in the fender where you got to fix that fender, which crashing it sounds a lot worse than it is, but
Yeah. And it's just like, are you fixing this before it's painted or after it's painted?
both,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So there are guys that do metal finishing where they're actually picking it out, similar to PDR, but then since you don't have the paint film to like hide your tiny imperfections, you take a file and just file it smooth.
I bet that's like an easy sell to your clients, right? Like, oh, I worked at the factory fixing dents.
Yeah, right. Yeah, buddy.
Now, is that like a whole department there, or is it like they're fixing it as the car is moving down the line?
It's kind of both. I mean, they're fixing it as it's moving down the line, and then they have offline, what they call offline repair areas.
So they just call and say, John, lane number 6, step 42. Like, how do they set all that up? Like,
That I have no experience with at all.
Okay.
All my experience would be with training, because General Motors, they're a union shop. So me
Right.
coming in as an outsider, I don't have any.
okay.
I can't touch a car to work on it. I can, if there's something that anyone needs help with, like in an offline situation, I can like show them some things, but ultimately I got to hand the tools to them and they got to fix it. I can't just sit there and fix it
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
unless we're like contracted in to fix certain things, and it's like, the union gives the blessing and stuff like that. So
Now, did you train them on site?
yeah,
Okay.
yep, they would be on site, and typically like an offline repair area, which, like I'm saying offline, they've got these conveyors, where these cars are running down the conveyors, and offline would be like an area just off the conveyor, and that's typically where we'd set up our training.
That's gonna be an awesome experience. So how long did you did that for?
About 7 years.
Wow.
I'm still doing it. I still do it now.
Oh, really?
Occasionally. Yeah. I haven't done one in a while, but yeah, I still do it.
Nice, man.
How many
Yeah.
guys were you training per training session?
It just depends. Sometimes we'll do like big classes where there's like, 10 or more people, and in that situation, you're going to have a couple of instructors going. But most of the time it's pretty small, like 2 or 3 people.
And that's where actually I met Dwayne on the Dentless Touch show, and then we became friends, and then he was one of your trainees at GM, correct?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was so funny. He was like, I'm a little embarrassed, but he was like, "Hey man, you know Ryan Shutt?" I'm like, "Who?" Because I was just like, I was so out of touch with all like the shows and the podcast
Yeah.
and everything, and I was just like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Seriously? You trained me and you don't know who Shuddy is?" And I'm like, "Nope." So when we met each other, I had no idea about like Dent Digest and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
That's
here
cool.
I'm talking to Ryan Shutt. I was like,
Talking to nobody.
later on, I'm like, "Dang, dude, that was cool."
Talking to nobody.
Oh, that's not true. Which I'm sure you've heard it enough, but congratulations on your award at MT. That was
Thank
awesome.
you. I appreciate it. And thanks again for everybody that voted. It was cool. It was
That's
a
awesome.
unexpected event, is what I call that.
We also got the best podcast award, but we passed it on to. we passed it on to. Andy,
Yeah,
I
Manny,
love you, bro.
Manny wants that award, doesn't he? He wants it.
Oh,
He
you'll
wants
get it.
bad.
You'll get
Andy,
it.
we love you, bro.
Those gingers, they're not gonna hold on to it forever.
I know we're gonna have to steal it. We're gonna have to steal it. So you leave, or you don't leave GM, but how do you? What do you have a route? Are you a hail guy? What is your?
Yeah, so Andy's like one of my best friends, so he obviously knows I'm kidding. But man, the whole time I was doing the training, like when I was working for that company, that there obviously wasn't training constantly. So we had like a pretty big shop that I was able to utilize whenever I was home to just drum up some business. And I was sort of a retail shop. I mean, and I ran it all myself. And I say sort of because it wasn't crazy. It wasn't high volume. It was just, stuff would trickle in, and I would, when it hailed in the area, because at that time I was in St. Charles, Missouri, so there was a fair amount of hail in that area. And yeah, I would just get as much stuff in as I could. If somebody would come up with something really nasty, like a big door smash, I'd just look at it and be like, well, and that's one of the things my friend Charlie showed me, is that I used to think, you can't fix anything bigger than that, and he's like, well, why can't you? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, exactly. You just gotta put the metal back where it goes. And I started getting some nasty stuff and putting the metal back where it went. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. You can actually fix this big nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And that was fun, just doing that. And I would get paid according, like I was a salary employee at that point, getting bonuses and stuff like that. But the things, it was nice because they appreciated the fact that I wasn't like sitting around on my thumbs, not doing anything. And those times where I wasn't out doing the training, I was trying to actually be a productive member of the company.
That's cool.
And it was good too, because I was getting a lot of experience with some nasty stuff.
Yeah, and still making the salary, so it kind of worked out.
Yeah, exactly. And getting some hail stuff in, and it was awesome.
What year was this, John?
That was like, I moved to Nashville in 2014, I think. And so that was probably like 07 to 14, something like that. That's when I was working for that company.
Okay.
And then in 14 is when I took the leap to go out on my own.
How was that transition?
It was pretty nerve-wracking. My wife, she went to nursing school, and what brought us to Nashville is she got a job at Vanderbilt. So I was looking at the possibility of doing hail, and so I was like, well, shoot, I can do that anywhere. So like, sure, let's go to Nashville. And Nashville's a pretty good, good distance from everything, kind of centrally located in the hail situation. So we moved there, and I don't know, but it was good because she had the job doing the nursing, and kind of me jumping into like a very big unknown after having such like a job where I had, had great benefits. I had a salary and all that guaranteed income, and then going into like the hail game, it was kind of like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. But I mean, it's been awesome. It's just every year it's just gotten better and better, and just keep meeting new people. And
What do you like about the hail the most? Like, what are your takes off of hail?
Just I really like getting into a new body shop and meeting new people. That's a lot of fun, and meeting the local guy. I have great relationships with any of the local guys that I've ever helped out with. We just become good friends. That's one of the parts that I really like, is just making the friendships and the connections. It's good. It's a lot of fun. And then like when you get into a new body shop situation, it's always fun to learn the dynamic of the shop. Everybody's like on their best behavior at first, and then once you're there for 2 months, you start seeing like the little bickering here and there, and you feel like, oh, I see what's going on. I see what's actually going on here. So that's pretty fun. But then also like, you work 6 months out of the year, and then you have, 6 months home where you can spend some like really good quality time with the family, and that's probably what I like most about it.
Yeah. Are you doing any work at home?
A little bit. I've got a few car collectors that let me do some of their stuff, but not a ton.
So,
just a little bit here and there.
So right now you don't have a shop. You're just basically a full-time hail guy.
That's exactly right. Yep.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. My shop is my trailer. But I've been eyeballing a shop that's actually pretty close. It's like 4 minutes from my house.
It's called Dapper Dent Repair.
Yeah. Dapper. Now he's an hour away, so we're good. But no, it's just it's a really cool old. It's been there since like 1982. The guys had it for sale for like 5 years. Comes with everything that's been collecting in it for the last 40 years. But it could be really cool. I think it's just. And again, that'd be another leap that'd be really scary. I mean, obviously, you guys have already done it. But.
Now, do you think that so door dingers and route techs, everyone is kind of moving into like getting shops too, right? So, do you think that like hail guys are also seeing, moving into that route? I mean, I know the traveling will never stop,
Right?
But are hail guys, getting into shops too, or?
Not really that I've seen. I mean, I guess some people have. Like there's a lot of people who have done it in Colorado, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I hope they're all doing good, because Colorado's kind of dried up the last couple of years. But I guess you just have to make a shift in what your business, is at that point.
Like I was just thinking, because you're a hail guy, traveling is fun. But what would drive you to open up a shop?
I guess just staying home all the time and not traveling at all. But I guess I haven't fully made up my mind on that. Like I don't know what would be better. Is it better to come and be in your own bed every night? Or is it better to have 6 months where you don't have to work at all? I don't know. I'm leaning towards like being in your own bed every night, but
yeah, I guess that's one of those things that like, you do enjoy it especially when you're out and about, but it's also one of those things where just like, I miss home.
Yeah.
And it changes the dynamic at home. You know what I mean? She's been so used to him traveling 6 months of the year. It probably changes that whole dynamic. You know what I mean? Even when you come back, it's probably a change of dynamic. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've got to kind of relearn things when I come home. You know what I mean? I can't come in and just be like, hey, you got to do this and you do that. And I mean, I'd get an ass whooping if I did that, for sure. You just have to come in and kind of reacclimate to everything. Just stay quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have kids, John?
Yeah, I've got two.
Okay. What age?
Yep. Four and a 6-year-old.
How's the
Soon to be
relationship?
5. He'll be 5 here pretty soon.
How's the relationship with the kids when you're out?
Oh, good. We're good. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. They are really good. They're very generous with me going out of town. They understand that, springtime daddy goes to long work.
Long work.
And they're really good with it. I mean, they don't like it, but they get upset when I leave, but they're good about it. They understand. They get it.
That's cool.
They're super good kids.
That's
I'm
awesome.
very lucky in that department. Yeah.
That is awesome. I gotta say, I met you over at the at MTE.
Yeah.
And with Kevin, and Kevin's awesome because he's always introducing everyone. And,
Yeah.
And he's like, John. I'm like, I don't know. I don't, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, you got to know John.
You got to know. Yeah.
John's the man. It's just like, man, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Kevin Bird's good for that. Yep.
Yeah.
I actually became friends with Kevin Bird at my very first MTE in 2009, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he found out my last name was Jaeger, and I think we did about 15 Jaeger bombs that night.
Oh,
it was a night to remember, or not.
that does not make a good morning.
No.
So how many MTs have you been to? Like, have you been?
I don't know. I haven't been every year. I've kind of gone like every other year.
Okay.
Sometimes skip 2 here and there, but I try to go semi-regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too good not to go. I love going. I'd like to go every year if I could.
What is the year that most stands out for you, like MTE?
Honestly, it's got to be my first one because
Oh, really?
it was so overwhelming. You walk in and just I don't know. It's just I was shocked. It was a shock to the system to see all the stuff. I mean, it was just crazy. You see these awesome tools. And back then, I was still a salary guy and I was pretty cheap. I was kind of like getting away with working on stuff with just kind of the bare minimum. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I want to buy all this stuff. But I was broke and couldn't. But yeah, that's I would say that first one, it really stands out to me. And when I brought Dwayne to his first MTE, we were talking about Dwayne a few minutes ago.
That was like 2018, right? No.
I think so.
17.
I don't remember. He would probably know.
Yeah.
But no, he was like, I was like, dude, it's super overwhelming. And you were like, you are not kidding. And then again, like I brought my nephew this past MTE, and he was the same way. He was like, dude, this is crazy. But I mean, he just thrived in that environment. Like, especially like the pool bar. He just went out to the pool bar and he was talking to everybody. He did great. He was killing it.
Now, if you look back in your career path, what would you say was like the most inspirational part of it? Like if you sit back, you're like, you know what, this really kind of propelled me in my PDR career. What was it? The one thing that you could really say that made a big difference? Digging deep here tonight.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I think one of the things that really stands out to me is like I said, working with Charlie, my mentor. I mean, he took me from this guy who didn't think you could fix more than, a quarter, $half size dent to someone who, I realized that you could fix some really gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I mean, just I don't know, like going to that Hail Expo that we went to, listening to a lot of those people talk about, making connections and making sure those connections are genuine and not not faking it, and just genuinely being a good person and trying to just do whatever needs to be done in any given situation and not worry about, don't put the dollar ahead of everything, put like just doing what's right ahead of everything, which seeing people talk about that, I kind of realized that I was doing that. That was kind of nice. And that, I think seeing people talk about that helped me kind of double down on that fact.
Yeah.
So I think that helped out a lot too, because a lot of places that I go to, one of the biggest compliments I get is like, man, we couldn't have done this without you. It was so good to have you here, and just made everything easier. And I don't know, that's just kind of what I strive to do.
Yeah. And I'll tell you guys, that Hail Expo, it was not like MTE, but it was really good. For me not to be a Hail guy and go, it was a fantastic seminar.
I enjoyed it.
Where was
It
this?
was great.
It was in, where the hell
It was in St. Louis.
Yeah. It was so good. Like, just the speakers were good.
Yeah.
The content was good. Like, it was just really, really good. And there was just really good people there.
Yeah. That's where I met Joel.
Oh, really?
Joel Mathis, yeah. The guy, I've partnered with him quite a bit in the last couple of years.
He's funny as hell.
He's a great guy. Great guy.
But yeah, shame they don't have that Hail Expo anymore. You know what I mean? It was...
I know, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
What year was this that you guys went to that Hail Expo?
I think it was 2018, yeah. I'm so bad at remembering years.
Well, see, the pandemic kind of wiped like 3 years of my life away. So I kind of get everything mixed up. I'm like, I don't even know what year it is now. Is it 22? Yeah. Is it 23? But I think it was like 2018 or 2019.
It was 2018 because that's the first year I worked with Joel.
Okay.
2018. Yep, for sure.
I got to ask, when you started PDR and, you went through training, you learned, and, you were doing the training thing yourself too. Did you see yourself doing like being a health tech, or did you see yourself like having your shop? Like, what did you vision like coming into the PDR world?
Dude, I was flying by the seat of my pants. I had no vision. I was just kind of, I was trying to earn a living and do a good job.
That's
and
fair.
So like when I got into the PDR industry, like I said, I was pretty sheltered. I didn't really know a lot of people back then and know about all the things that you could, like, what was it, Doording.com back then? I didn't even know about that until...
Making me feel old now. Jeez.
I didn't even know about that stuff. And so I didn't know that PDR was such a like great thing, which it is. It's freaking awesome. What an industry. Like, I just feel like I fell into it. I feel super lucky. Hey, Ruby.
So what drove you into the Hail world?
To the Hail world? Well, I talked about that first MTE that I went to in 2009. I made some lifelong friends from Minnesota there. And they actually called me later on that year, like later in the spring, and they were like, hey, we got a hailstorm. Would you want to come up and like help us with it? And I was like, man, I don't know. Is it worth it? Like, I think back on that comment, I'm like, you're an idiot. And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's worth it. So, and I just had to go to the guys that own the company, which it was a very small company I worked for. There's only 5 people there. And so I went to the owners. I'm like, hey, I got an opportunity here to probably make some money for us. What do you think? And they're like, yeah, go for it. They just trusted me. It was like a family. They were really cool. Like, cool. Yeah, go for it. So loaded up some tools, went up, and that was my first hailstorm. And I saw the money that I was generating, not actually making, but I was, generating these numbers. And I was like, huh, That's pretty cool. All these guys are just taking all that home. So that was kind of my first taste, and I was like, yeah, I think this is something I could get into. So,
What did you learn right away in the hail trail, though? What was your first lesson?
First lesson was my first lesson was don't try to glue pull a van roof. Just go ahead and drop the headliner. that was my first hard lesson. I guarantee it.
That is funny.
Now, do you, when hail hits, is it something that you just hook up with the same guys and go to follow with the same people, or are you kind of wherever?
I do have some. What's up, Dwayne? I do have quite a few places that I go to on a semi-regular basis. You know, if they get hit. But I'm always expanding my horizons. Like I worked with Corey Nichols last year. That was a blast. And he and I had just met the MTE before that, so
that's cool.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, he got his first hailstorm, and he called me in, and it was awesome.
That's cool.
It sounds like MTE has played a big role in your hail career.
Huge.
Yeah, for like any tech who's like, oh man, I wish I could do hail. Like, would you say like going to MTE it's a must?
I think so. Yeah. Most of the jobs that I've gotten, I gotta say, has been directly because of MTE.
Wow.
And the connections and the friends. You go to MTE and you make friends. You don't want to go there and with the idea that you're gonna make a bunch of money from these people that you're gonna talk to. You gotta go and just be open-minded to make friendships, and maybe those friendships are going to turn into something like a business relationship, but you just go in and make friends, and that's the best thing you can do, and it's so much more enjoyable that way too.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what I would say. If you're wanting to go in and do hail, and you're wanting to go to MTE to like get your foot going in the right direction, then by all means do that, but you just have to have the right mindset for it.
Right. Because I'm just thinking, like, it's one thing to know what states got hit with hail, you know where the damage is, but it's also another thing to know who to connect with to work in those areas, right?
Right.
And the networking, even if you don't have money to buy tools, the networking at MTE is priceless.
It's priceless, yeah.
You're getting people that, my buddy Josh that comes with me the last couple of years, he's not a dent guy. But he says what's crazy is in our industry, how can we push dents every single day, work our asses off, and then come to this event, take 4 days off, go to this event, and talk about dents till 3 a.m.
I know.
It's just a unique thing, and the networking in MTE it's priceless, man. It's way worth the price of admission. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
What's on your health? You say you have a trailer, so you're all set up. You got every tool in there. But so what's your hell? What do you pack to go on the road to go work on a hill?
Oh man. So you hear about those people that are like super efficient hail techs that only bring like this many tools and they're placed perfectly around their cart. I'm not really that guy. I have my go-tos on. I have a pack out, so I've got a pack out set up, and I have my go-tos on there. But my trailer has everything. It has all my stuff. So if I ever get into a situation where, and it happens all the time, where the body shop's like, "Oh, hey, can you do this door ding or this fender smash or something like that?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, sure." I have the stuff. I don't have to say, "Oh, I didn't bring that," But yeah, I definitely have like a pack out set up with the basics and the top 12 tools that you grab.
What kind of hail light do you use?
I use a Chubby HD. Sorry.
Can't talk about that company on this.
I know.
I know. I'm sorry.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna talk about the tools. Like you don't share. What kind of tools?
No, I'm talking about the chubby company.
I picked up on. So
Yeah.
okay, okay. What's your?
They have honestly the fade. I can't.
Yeah.
It's my favorite fade. I've tried the other stuff and it's my favorite. I don't know. All the other lights are beautiful and awesome. I don't know. My eyes like this one.
I get it.
It's a bummer.
What are you using for a hail rod?
Carbon Tech, and I've got from the sides. I use the wood a lot.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I don't even think you can get that anymore, can you?
I don't think so. Everybody always wants to buy it off my cart. I'm like, nah. I'm hanging on to that one, which I bought at the Hail Expo.
Yeah, they had like a real little room, like everybody was crammed together.
Yeah.
In these tools. And I remember looking, this is before I knew Rick Hummert, and I kept looking. He was right across. I was helping Chad from Endeavor and looking over. I'm like, what the fuck are they using those bent up ass tools for? Right? 2 years later, I'm saying, man, this hood and deck set's the best tool I ever got.
I know, right?
But, do you use the hood and deck a lot from Excalibur?
I have them and I use them. Not a lot though. Like my go-to hood and deck tools they're actually Ultra tools. The Hail Twisters. They got this really small diameter ones, like the really tiny yellow handled ones. I don't remember the diameter. It's like the real tiny stuff. And then they got the next size up, and then even the next thicker one up from that. And my friend Joel actually had like some custom ones made that are like 30 inches long. Oh, and they're real similar to all those where they have like that curve, but they're bendable, so you can change that curve to whatever you need it to be.
Oh, that's cool.
And they got the flag on the end, and the handle is just perfect. Those Ultra handles with for the little hand tools with the flags. I mean, those handles just fit in my hand perfectly. So yeah, I use those on just about everything. I love them.
It's funny how you've mentioned this a couple times. Like it's what works best with you. It's funny how like there's so many tools out there that you could work with, but you have to know what works with you, like with your body, with your eyes, with your hands.
Yep.
There's so much key right there, I think, to a successful tech, just knowing what tools work great with you.
With you, exactly right. Yep.
Now, what are you using for glue?
Glue, I actually just started using tab weld again.
Okay.
I say just, like last year I started using tab weld again. Joel and I did the tag team Dent Olympics, and Andy and Brandon, when they did theirs, Andy borrowed my glue gun and he put tab weld in it, and I was helping with Kevin Bird's cleanup team, and I'm like, oh, there's tab weld in my glue gun. I don't want this tab weld in here. Oh, it's already in there. So it was just getting monster pulls, and I was like, wow, this stuff is great. And so I've just been using that. I used the Reaper purple in the spring, and that stuff was ripping like crazy. That was really good stuff. And then in Arkansas, where I was, it was too hot and sticky. It just didn't really want to hold on at that point.
Yeah. Went
back to the tab weld.
Yeah, something about the tab weld. I'm always pulling paint with tab weld. I don't know why.
Don't pull it that hard.
I don't know what it is. It's like, and it's happened a few times. Like, I use certain glue, and then I'll go back to tab weld, and sure enough, like,
really
pull paint out of something, and then I'll just go back to like,
his
else.
pink that doesn't work.
I used the turquoise from Anson for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used that for a long time.
Yeah, that stuff. I think Ensign. I mean, most of their glue is pretty good.
Yeah. Was
So
it
far.
the tequila glue? I guess it was.
Yeah, all the tequila line glue has been, have worked well for me.
What advice would you give to any of these new guys that are in here watching in the PDR world? Advice on that end.
My like I was saying earlier, any situation you get into, just do the right thing and do it for the right reasons. I feel like a lot of decisions are money driven, and I feel like if you make decisions more, based on the relationship, then I think the money will follow. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
yeah, it does.
100%.
If I get into like a situation, I was in a spot where there was a Subaru. The Subaru, it needed a new roof. It was just destroyed, and Subarus just don't hold up to hail. It was garbage. Well, the roof was back ordered, right? And a Subaru roof is like $250.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm looking at this roof and I'm like, oh my gosh. Is there anything you can do? I'm like, yeah, I can. It's just, and that's just such a loser, but it made such a big difference for that shop, getting that job done and out the door, they had to paint it. There was no fixing it without painting it. I had to shrink some spots up, and it is what it is, but they were able to get that car out, and it was a loser of a job, but it paid off dividends in the long run because that shop will always request me back.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will look at that situation and be like, oh, fuck no, I ain't fixing that. That's a piece of shit,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, that's true. You're not wrong.
Yeah. I think what I keep getting from you is just be humble, just no matter where you're at, no matter where you're working, just be humble,
Yeah.
Put others before you, help others, when you can. Do the right thing, Don't do it for the money, do it for the passion, and because it's work, and the money will come after.
Yep.
I know that you still train PDR, but what's that one thing that you always if you're training guys, what's that one thing that you always make sure to deliver? Like, what's that point? What's that thing that you always want to make sure that you deliver to guys?
Gosh.
Stumped them.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things, having just the understanding of the light, just like, your light is your best friend. Everybody always talks about like all these different tools you can have, but if you can't see what you're doing, then they're useless.
Yeah.
So I always try to get people to focus on that light and making sure it's in the right position and your head's in the right position and all that kind of stuff. So that's the biggest thing, I guess, that I try to encourage.
Well, how far do you always recommend to set your light?
Starting off with folks, I usually start with the light like pretty close where the dent's almost kind of washed out so they can see really well, see their tip, and kind of like when you use like a mini light to start off with big nasty dent to see the bottom.
Yeah.
Try to get it to where it's like the light's kind of up high and you have that reflection down into the dent pretty well. That's where I like to start, and then have them move it back. Just talk about, make sure you move that light a lot. That's one thing that, you can't say enough. And that's the thing I think that people forget most is moving the light.
Yeah.
They'll get it to a certain point and you're like, oh, hey, check this out. And then you come look and you're like, oh, it looks great. And you move the light back and they're like, oh, man.
Yeah. It's
and I look at them and they're like, I'll keep working on it.
Yeah, that's one thing that got me at the Dent Olympics at MTE this year. Not the one dent, but the tag team. Like I had on the truck, I had my light just so close, working on it the whole time, but I never actually moved the light a little further back.
Oh yeah.
And when the time came when I was done, I took a few steps back, and then I saw the dent from further. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
wow.
dude. I can relate because, like I said, Joel and I did tag team last year, and it was You forget when you're up there in the spotlight, you kind of forget some stuff.
Yeah, because you're trying not to crack the paint. You're trying to push on the right spot so you have it up close.
Yeah.
But those dents are so nasty that you got to keep moving that light.
Yep.
So
And I think it's the time too. You're worried about the time. You know what I mean? So
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I can remember the first glue tab I put down on the rail. I'm just like, I was shaking so bad. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, man,
spilling glue all down the window.
So John, you've learned PDR, you love it. You've done training. You're doing hell. Life is good. What's the next 3 years look like for you?
Oh, dude. I'm kind of in limbo on that. I love doing hail. But I love the idea of having a local like auto spa here.
Yeah.
Little Pleasant View, Tennessee. I think it'd be awesome, man. And it's such a good location, and the shop price is not very expensive, and it's like a blank slate. It's a dump. It needs everything, but it would be a dream, I think, to do it. I think that's the next 3 years. I think hopefully you're gonna see a brick and mortar dude's dent removal, or dude's auto spa or something. I don't know.
Especially someone like you that just knows a lot about how to fix cars. I mean, with your background in the body shop, like.
Yeah, and it's actually got a paint booth in there, and I mean I could do some bumper jobs or something like that. Oh, Chris Minton, what's up, dude? Chris Minton, he's a guy I trained with.
Yeah, he's saying training partners.
Yeah, great.
And then having the shop too, I'm sure that you would bring training on board too, right? I mean, it'll be easier.
Man, I don't think so.
No,
I don't know. I think I'm trained out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly not as fun for me as it used to be. I just maybe it's just because I've got more experience with pushing now that I find that when I train people, I want to just get in there and push it out. Just like I get frustrated and I want to just be like, dude, just here, see? It's not hard.
Yeah.
It is hard though, because I remember how bad I sucked.
yeah.
Oh.
And it's super hard. It looks a lot easier than what it is.
I feel like it takes a lot more patience being an experienced tech to watch someone work than like in the beginning. Maybe like what you were saying, with so much experience now, it's hard to train because it's just like you just know how to get it done right.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And I think one key thing that John has that, me and you didn't have when you open up a shop, you worked in a lot of shops that had issues and you worked in a lot of shops that worked. So you kind of know what works, what doesn't work. You know what I mean? As in personnel or way they were set up. So you got to see a lot of different ideas than just having that idea in your head.
Right.
So I think that's a key point that you'll have a little bit of an edge.
Yeah. No, I hope you're right.
You'll be fine. You got a good personality, good work ethic. You got a good support team. You'll be fine.
Oh,
Just do it.
definitely the best support team for sure.
You signing a lease soon or what?
I'm gonna buy that thing, man.
There you go.
But well, John, I really appreciate you coming on. You know what I mean? It was cool to catch back up with you at MTE and just BS and
Yeah,
have
for
some
sure.
drunken talks and
Yeah.
it
We talked?
It was good. I know that's what he said tonight. Tonight I was like, he's like, yeah, we really didn't get to talk much, and I was like,
we
talked
talked for like 2 hours, bro.
2 hours upstairs at the bar, and he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
MT.
Shout out to
man,
Brendan for carrying me home that night.
So
man.
I do really appreciate you coming on, man, and we'll definitely. I'm just waiting for a little hail to come, so I'm gonna steal you
dude.
right from Andy Patrick and all the boys.
Come on.
You're coming East Coast.
I'd love to.
So
It'd be a joy to work in that beautiful shop.
we won't work there. I have to rent a warehouse.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You guys are too dirty for me.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Where can people find you?
Facebook, dudesdentremoval.com. I'm on Facebook, obviously, Instagram. Yep.
Cool.
That's where I'm at.
Awesome, man.
He's ready for hail. Call him up.
I'm ready for hail.
And are you hitting the road soon?
Actually, I am heading out of town next week.
Okay.
Yep, doing just a short little gig for a friend.
Nice.
Yep.
What is last question? We'll let you go. Where is that one state that you don't like to go through hell?
Oh man, I can't really say that, man. That's just that ain't cool.
Yeah, you know what? You don't have to answer that. No, the only reason why I was asking is because for some reason I saw Texas, and then I was like, there's a lot of nasty, hell in Texas that happens that I see.
Yeah.
But you also see it in other states, and so that's the reason that question came to my mind. I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's any states he stays away from because there's this nasty hell down there.
Honestly, I've not had like great experiences in Texas,
Really?
So that's
all right.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that'll be a bar story.
Yeah.
He's like, Maryland, I'm never coming back to Maryland.
Never
It's not going on.
John, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for sharing your story, and can't wait to see you at MTE next year.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
See you, buddy. You have a great night.
You too.
Thanks, John.
Bye-bye. Good one. That was a good one. John's a good dude, man. Drunk or not, John's a good dude.
And that's exactly how he was at the bar when I met him. Just very humble, just super cool. Just introduce himself, and
he's a surveyor. And what I mean by surveyor is he kind of sits and reads the room.
Yeah.
Before he starts talking, you know what I mean? He kind of figures everybody out before he really has those conversations. So, but he's a good dude, man.
You can tell he's very humble. Yeah. I mean, I almost asked what sets him apart from everyone else, but it's clear on its own, just his humbleness, Yeah.
And I think transparency is a big thing because there's a lot of really shitty stuff that goes on in the hail trail,
Oh, I'm sure.
It's crazy, guys get burned or whatever, but it's refreshing when you have a good group of guys, that just keep the reputation of PDR right,
Yeah.
So, and Dwayne Dean in here, he's got some medical stuff going on, guys, He's got some surgery next week, so let's everybody think about him. He's a good dude. So it's a pretty serious surgery. It's going to wipe him out for a little while. So just think about him or reach out and tell him, what's up, man? I don't know who you are, but Ryan was talking about you. John Yeager says you're a good guy. So, but reach on out to him, Manny. You have a great rest of your week, bud.
Thank you. You as well, man. Don't work too hard.
Hey, we're getting it, man. It's happening. April 15th, if you guys are bored, make a trip to Baltimore.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for tuning in and hear John's story.
It was a good one. We're ready for next week already.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
We got another good one.
Yes, sir.
Manny, take care of those kids. Say hi to Cindy.
Thank you.
And I will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ryan.
Keep it real, guys. Enjoy the night. Be safe. Wash your damn hands. See you guys. Bye-bye.